Hello there, this is Linda West with Living Live, and I'm so excited to talk today about one of my favorite topics. Well, fear is actually my favorite topic, but today I'm going to talk about I get to versus I have to. This has been one of the most key elements to a shift in my mind, and I'm going to tell just a really quick story right now about an incident that just happened. An instance. It wasn't really an incident. It was an instance, something that just happened to me. And I realized that, oh yes, it's the I get it versus I have it. I have to do it kind of thing. So I had to make a phone call. I got to make a phone call. So I had to make a phone call today. And I personally, I'm one of those people who don't really like making phone calls. Is that you? If that's you, put in the comments below. That's me. I don't like making phone calls. So I had to make this phone call. And as I was making the phone call, I realized that I was using the words, I have to make this phone call. But then realizing that actually making this phone call was going to be something that was going to benefit not only me, but it was going to benefit my clients as well. And it was going to benefit a whole bunch of other people, helped me to see that I needed to change my words. So I changed my words is that I get to make this phone call. And then I went into a whole different mindset. So I was able to work myself into a mindset that's going to help me to go onto the phone call with a positive and totally different attitude. Now, I am a positive person. Hello, Crystal. How are you doing today? I am a positive person, but I do have moments where I still kind of backslide a little. I used to not be very positive. I used to be very, very, very negative. And so just using this different type of mindset has helped me know how to switch what I'm thinking and quickly so that I can take advantage of it and become a happier person. I hope you're having a great day out there, Crystal. So this is one tip I have for you. I have a couple of different scenarios I'm going to share with you. So the one scenario of making phone calls. And you say, I have to do this. I have to do that. I have to do this. How many times do you find yourself saying, I have to go shopping? Well, think about it. There's some people who don't have any money to go shopping. So they would probably love to be able to go shopping. I have to make phone calls. Well, think about it. If you don't make the phone calls, will you get the client? Will you get the product, the service that you're looking for? Will you be able to help people? So you actually, it's something that you actually get to do, something that's a benefit to you to do. Let's see, Crystal says, I'm trying to focus on this. It's so hard to switch. And it is, okay, so that's another switch of mindset to make there, and it is hard to switch. So instead of saying that, so start there. Okay, so I would highly recommend, instead of saying it is so hard to switch, is to say it is easy to switch. It flows for me. I can switch easily at a moment's notice. So even though it might not happen that way initially, it eventually will. And that's exactly what happened with me with this phone call. So I looked at my calendar. I was like, oh, I got to make that phone call, because making phone calls is not my favorite thing to do. Let's just put it that way. It's just not my favorite thing to do. And so I looked at it and I said, oh, I got to make that phone call, or I have to make that phone call. And just realized that, oh, I'm putting myself in this like bad energy feeling. Like I didn't feel good when I said, I have to make the phone call. However, when I switched it to, I get to make this phone call, I have an opportunity to talk to this amazing person, it totally switched it for me. And so I got on the call and it was fantastic. It's so much better than I had envisioned it to be in my mind. So it's another thing is realize, like, most of the time when you do something that you really don't want to do, that most of the times it turns out better than what you imagined. So think back in your life of all the things you've done in your life. How many of times have you had something that you didn't want to do, you ended up doing it, and it was better? And then think about how many times you had something you didn't want to do, you did it, and it was worse. And most of the time, I'm going to venture to guess that most of the time, it ended up being better, right? So if we can switch our mind into realizing, like maybe even quickly, like now I'm able to do it quickly, but it took me time. It just takes time and effort, like anything else in life. Everything we do is going to take some time and effort. Nothing just like pops in our lap. I shouldn't say nothing, because some things do, which is really cool. But things that pop in our lap really are usually as a result of a lot of time working on it. So you know how there's this saying, I'm going off on a tangent here for just a second, but there's a saying that it only took me 30 years to become an overnight success. Well, that saying stems from using 30 years of really working hard at honing in on a craft, and then one night you do something and it's like astounding and everybody notices you, but they don't know all that hard work that you put in ahead of time. So it's the same thing with this, where we can relate it to this, in that changing our words isn't something that happens overnight. It's something that we have to work on, and we have to just constantly be aware of it. So even though I have a more positive attitude, way more positive attitude than I did back in the day, I used to be extremely negative. Like, I was just mean. I would say things that were just so cold and mean. And I look back and like, oh, I can't believe I did that. But you know what? That was the circumstances I was living in my life at that time. So even though I'm living in I'm much more positive now than I used to be, I still have those moments of doubt, the moments of, oh, I don't want to do this. But then now, because I've been working so hard at becoming this more positive person, like as often as I possibly can, and hanging out with positive and uplifting people, which is something I declared to do in 2015 during my year of fears. 2015, if you heard this is my year of fears, where every single morning I woke up, I said, what scares me? And then I did it. But one of my missions during 2015 was to have as much fun as I can, spending my time with positive, uplifting people who want to make a positive impact on the world. So by doing that, by putting myself in areas where I was going to be around those people as frequently as possible, it helped to change my mental state and how I spoke to myself and how I spoke outwardly. So one of the things is, like, when we're changing things in our life, from going from I don't want to say like a negative, but going from something that's not extremely positive to trying to switch it to the positive, we really have to take the effort to do that, and surrounding ourselves with the people who are there is really key to this development, because those are the people who are going to constantly be a positive influence on you. So like, they're going to, let's say you're drawing on the wall and you're drawing some beautiful, mural or whatever. That positive mural, that beautiful mural, is what you want to be around. So as far as beautiful mural comes to humans, you want to surround yourself near those positive people who are the ones that you want to be like, because that's how you're going to get there faster. So in less than 6 months, I personally went from a person who was very negative to a person that was very positive. It was such a drastic and quick change that I constantly heard from people, you are such a different person than you used to be. You've totally changed. You're like completely different. And that can happen by, like I said, surrounding yourself with those positive influences, the people who are the positive people in your life. So that's one thing. Let's see. Crystal says, hello, Jennifer. Hi, Chris. Okay, any tips on overcoming this when your spouse is super negative? I got a great tip on this one, because my husband and I beg to differ. I say, you are so negative. And he says, I'm not negative. I'm a realist. So it's like, whoa, okay. So in his mind, he's not a negative person. Does that make sense? So what I had to learn to do is to realize that he is living his life and I'm living my life. Even though we're married, like we're happily married, he has totally different thoughts than I do, completely opposite, right? Let's see, mine says that too. Okay, so it's just a matter of, and I actually did a post on this earlier today, is that, if once we learn how to communicate, we have better communication with people. So it's not that he's right, you're wrong, you're right, he's wrong. What it is you're just two totally different people living different lives, coming from different backgrounds. Everything is totally different in your lives. And even if you're sitting in the same room right now, watching the same exact thing or hearing the same exact words from somebody, you're going to hear it differently because you have different filters. Sorry, my dogs are going crazy, but it's raining outside, and I guess they don't know what rain is because we live in San Diego. So so being that you interpret everything so different than your spouse does, it's important to just kind of accept him for who he is. Hold on just a second here. Okay, you gotta be quiet. Be quiet, okay? Sorry about that. Every once in a while, they like to go crazy. So you just have to realize that you are both different people, and sometimes it might be one-sided. This might be one-sided, and that is that maybe you're going to be the one who makes the effort to learn how to communicate with him and to just, respect him for his thoughts and opinions. It doesn't mean they're right, for just having respect for it, and learn how to communicate with him better so that when you have a conversation with him, it's not like saying, well, I'm positive you're negative, because that's what I used to do with my husband. So what I do now, here's what I do. I'll tell you exactly what I do. When he's talking about something and going on a, like I like to call it a tirade. I don't anymore, actually. I used to call it a tirade. So when he's going on and on and on about something that is totally opposite from what I believe, I actually just listen. I have a listening ear. And I sit there and I say, this is what he truly believes. This is what he truly believes. And that's okay. It doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It just is. So I allow him, I say allow, but I allow him to just be himself. And then as far as him, like how he and I communicate with it, it's different. I do tell him every once in a while how like that made me feel, because it's really about feelings. Feelings are so different that you can't say you're right, you're wrong. It's like, when you're talking about that, like it just kind of like struck a chord with me, and here's why. So I'd never react like I used to be really, really bad, that I would just react and fly off the handle, but I don't do that anymore. What I do more is I just, like I said, listen, with a kind heart and a listening ear, because really people just want to be heard. And so by listening to him, that gives him that platform to have someone to speak to. And when he's done, I don't say anything. I just listen. Is it hard? Oh yeah. It's been harder, and it's getting easier and easier and easier. I don't know if it will ever be the easiest thing, because I don't have to agree with him, and I don't have to disagree with him. I just need to listen to him. So I hope that makes sense. Hopefully it's helpful. And yes, it can be very hard at times, because we have a tendency to want to be right. So is it Les Brown? Les Brown, if you guys know who Les Brown is, he said, I was having lunch with him one day, which is absolutely amazing, by the way, to have lunch with someone, a thought leader like that. But I was sitting with him, and he said, don't let what you have to say get in the way of what your audience needs to hear. So it can be the same with your spouse. Don't let what you have to say, because you have this urge and this need to say it, get in the way of what he needs to hear. Now, sometimes what he needs to hear is his own voice. And that's all it is. And you'll find that if you can just relax to it and just have compassion for what he feels and thinks, and listen to him with compassion, you'll find that your stress level will lower. His might not, but yours will. It's really cool. It's a great, oh my God. It was really difficult for me to start doing it, because I really had this need, this strong urge and need to say my opinion and to tell him how I didn't agree with him and how he was wrong and how I was right. But I realized that it wasn't about being right or wrong. It's not about winning the battle. It's about having love. So hopefully that's helpful information for you. Hello, William. Hello, Jimmy. Good to see you guys. Okay, so I wanted to talk about, just quickly before I go, so I attended this event. Okay, William says, interesting, telling him how it made me feel, what he said or did. Yeah, so it's more about the feelings, right? Because when you tell somebody how something made you feel, they can't tell you you're wrong. Your feelings are not wrong. But when you say, when you said that, you this, you that, you're pointing fingers, all of a sudden they get on the defensive. But when you tell somebody like, you know what, when you said that, it made me feel like this, like, and not, so it's just like whatever it is, whatever your feeling is. So I'm going to go to the next thing, and that is making connections with positive people. I attended this event called City Summit this weekend. I had no idea what to expect. Frankly, I was actually kind of scared going into it, and I'm going to let Pup in because she keeps barking. scratching on the door. Okay, come on in, Papa. She's my baby girl, my Papa. So I attended City Summit, and I didn't know what to expect, so I was a little bit apprehensive. And when I got there, of course, as normal, it was so much better than I worked it up into my mind, right? But I got to this event, City Summit, and there were a lot of people that I already know, so that really, of course, helped the comfort level. Like, it made me feel comfortable to be there. But there was some just amazing people that have experienced some crazy stuff. And I started talking to them about fears. And what I found is that when I talked to them about a topic that people don't normally talk about, that they felt really comfortable. It was so awesome. And I connected with so many people because I talked about something that is not something. Instead of saying, hey, what do you do for a living? My first question was, hey, what is the scariest thing you've ever done? And almost every person was like this. That's a good question. Let me think about that. Almost every single person, no matter who it was. And it was really cool because it gave me an opportunity to talk about my favorite subject, which is fear. And then it gave me an opportunity to connect with them. So I wanted to share. So I bought this gold dress to wear because I was attending the Golden Globes after party. And so I bought this gold dress to wear, and I didn't feel very comfortable in it. And so I decided last minute not to wear it, which was one of the best decisions I made, because really, if we're not comfortable with what we're wearing, then how can we possibly be comfortable when we're talking to people? And I truly believe, and William knows this, just like authenticity is so important. It's one of the most important values that we can have, because when you're being authentic, you're being who you truly, truly are, then you're going to attract other people to be authentic to who they truly are. And it's so cool. So I made these amazing connections this weekend. And first of all, I was thinking, here we're getting back to the I get to do something versus I have to do something. At the beginning, I was thinking I have to wear that gold dress because there's going to be stars there. There's going to be people all dressed up. They're going to be, dressed to the nines and all this stuff. So I have to wear the gold dress. And I felt so much stress and pressure that I put on myself to wear that gold dress. So when I made that decision, that conscious decision that, you know what, I'm not going to wear that gold dress. Instead, I wore what I had been wearing all day long, which was just, a colorful blouse with some black pants and, actually a jean jacket. I was wearing a jean jacket all day. And I decided to go ahead and wear that to the after party. Well, what that did for me is that made me immediately feel comfortable. It helped me to remember who I am and to be authentic and comfortable in that situation. So with me being comfortable and being able to feel authentic, I was able to do some things that I never would have thought of doing. For example, I'm going to tell you this because this was so awesome. I was so proud of myself when I did it. When I realized I was doing it, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. So there was the red carpet, and it's, I don't know, it was probably maybe 20 feet long. They didn't actually have a red carpet, but whatever. They roped it off to be like a red carpet. So it's like 20 feet long of this carpet. And then like the stars would come in and they would enter the carpet and they would go like from camera to camera to camera to camera, all these interviews. Okay. So interviews lined up all the way down. And there were, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 different stations or whatever that were there interviewing them. And I saw this, like there was one man here and one man here standing there. They had their cameras, and then the reporter was on the other side, facing the cameras. And so I saw this empty spot right here, and I was like, shoot, I'll just walk up there. So I walked right up there, and I was, I actually talked to a couple of the stars, but I had my camera and I was sitting there and I was just like, right up close, right up to their faces, basically. Oh, sorry for that bump there. But basically like right up to their faces, shooting this video, doing my live video on my personal timeline. And it was funny because there were some people that were looking at me like they thought that I belonged there, doing that, which I wasn't invited to do that, but I invited myself to do it. I did something that if I had thought about it, I would have been very self-conscious and I might not have done it. If I had been wearing that gold dress, here's the point I'm getting to. If I had been wearing that gold dress, I'm almost certain that I wouldn't have done that. because I would have been very self-conscious about what I looked like, because I would have been wearing something that I wasn't comfortable in. So having that comfort level, like, of who I am, and dressing, just even clothing, right? When we wear clothing, there's certain clothing that makes us feel one way, and then other clothing that makes us feel another way. Maybe not everybody, but I'm like that. So if I'm wearing something that I don't feel comfortable in, I'm just not comfortable. And if I'm not comfortable in the clothing, I'm not comfortable in me, being me. So that was a very, very important thing for me to realize, that I didn't have to wear that gold dress. I actually got to do what I wanted. And then when I chose to do what I wanted to do, as opposed to what I thought I had to do, I was able to be very comfortable and to just be me. And it was so awesome. And then today, oh my gosh, it's just amazing what's happening, because I'm stepping into, just being 100% authentic. Being authentic 100% of the time, which is very difficult to do, because a lot of times we're scared of judgment. And I've come to realize that I am no longer allowing people's judgment of me to affect me. Do I care what people think? Yes. But will I let it affect the way I am or the way I feel? No. So once you can come to that realization that, being your 100% self, that people either accept you or not accept you, once you can come to that realization, it just makes it a lot easier to do the things you get to do, and instead of seeing it as things you have to do. So just simply changing your words, like, I get to do this, as opposed to I have to do this. So the next time you find yourself, here's the tip for you. The next time you find yourself, discover, like I just said, I have to do something. What I want you to do is I want you to look at how it's actually something that you get to do. So again, going back to how I have to go grocery shopping, as opposed to I actually get to go grocery shopping. There's so many people that don't have food. This is something that I have an opportunity to do. I have to wash my clothes. I have clothes to wash. I actually get to wash my clothes. Not only do I have clothes to wash, I have a washing machine to wash them in. If I'm going to the laundromat, I have quarters to put into the laundromat to do them. So there's just a totally different switch of mindset. So if you change your words from I have to I get to, you actually get to see how your life will change. It'll change for the better for you and everyone around you, because once you start incorporating positivity into your life, just on that one thing right there, that one thing alone, there's so many different levels of positivity. Changing that one thing right there, changing your words, will totally change your life. Now, I do have a course called Year of Fears course. And if you're interested in learning about it, go to livinglife.com/YOF course. And I put it up in the description up above. In the Year of Fears course, I'm not going to have you do anything that's going to be like eating bugs, jumping out of planes, doing zip lining, or do anything like that. Now, if you want to, of course, you're more than welcome to do that. But the Year of Fears course is more about helping you face those kinds of fears that are stopping you from progressing in life. Now, you can walk on fire, but I don't totally think it's necessary to do that in order to change your life, because I've totally changed my life without walking on any fire, without jumping out of any planes, without eating any bugs. Totally changed my life by changing my mindset. So if you're interested in that, again, it's livinglive.tv/YOF course, and the link is above. I look forward to helping you break through any of your fears that are going to help you change your life, make a bigger impact on the world, as well as to help you generate more revenue. Are you ready to generate more revenue? Yes. Yeah, I helped one of my clients almost double her income just in 2017 alone, and we're on track to have her, I say we because I'm part of her team, but helping her triple her income in 2018. Not only that, she got off of food stamps and all government aid for the first time in 7 years. That is a huge mindset. That's all mindset. And the Year of Fears course is one that's intended to help you to break through some of those fears that are stopping you from progressing in life and becoming the bigger, better person that you are meant to be. So I hope to see you over there, and you guys have a wonderful day. And let me know in the comments how you're changing your life, how you're changing your words from I get to, from I have to I get to. Have a great day, you guys. This is Linda West with Living Live. Bye-bye now.